Joy Behar was not ready for this one. It was truly a sight to behold when Tulsi Gabbard stopped The View from just rolling past their previous egregious accusations against her, especially taking Joy Behar to task live on air. And for what? It's because instead of walking back, Joy Behar decided to double down on calling Tulsi a useful idiot for the Russians, prompting a scathing response from Tulsi Gabbard to her face. And I think that's what solidified this segment in history, being a sad reminder of where some people in the media stand when it comes to intellectual and moral integrity. So there's much more I need to tell you about. Subscribe to the channel and take a look at this clip before we get into it.
We'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts, because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Yeah. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you the question?
No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence to know what's going on.
They use that.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
We're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing. Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
Joy, this is why
you're on Tucker Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Did Joy just ask Tulsi Gabbard why she doesn't go on Chris Wallace's show when she's literally present at the most solidly left-wing political talk show on TV? And not just that, do you see the incredible internal incoherence of lumping together people like Tucker Carlson to the likes of Richard Spencer and Franklin Graham? It's that eagerness to imply guilt by association that Tulsi Gabbard wasn't going to have, and I think you can see why that is. It's not just in the media, but a similar theme we saw with Tulsi when she was part of the Democratic Party until 2022. She was always a bit of an outlier in the party's policy positions on foreign policy and military interventionism, eventually driving her out from the inner Democratic circles, which showed just how tolerant and accepting the party's establishment really was when it comes to differing views. It wasn't just her outreach to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad during the country's civil war, but even today when she's openly questioning America's involvement in Ukraine, that Tulsi Gabbard gets portrayed as some kind of Russian asset in America, or a useful idiot, as Joy Behar calls her. Just for a refresher, here's a clip of what was actually said on The View a few months prior to this. It gives you a taste of how easy it is to become a victim of smears and attacks from the inner Democratic establishment, figures like Hillary Clinton, and shows like The View, when there's only a substantive disagreement on the policy.
She tweeted back and called Hillary a warmonger. Okay, so that does not do anything for me. She hasn't denied it. She hasn't said anything in her tweets. How dare you? It's outrageous. Of course I'm not. She didn't say that. No. She's just going after Hillary. And like you said, Hillary was right about almost everything. She's been exonerated with that nonsense that they pulled about her server already. So, you know, and this idea that she's doing this to get back in the race, that she said that also, Tulsi. I don't buy that either. I don't think Hillary wants to go through it again. So I think that there's something, I don't say that Tulsi is an agent. I just think that she could be a useful idiot the way Trump is a useful idiot to the Russians. Yeah. That they see something. They say, oh, look, a useful idiot. Let's play this.
You can imagine how infuriating a remark like that is when you're the only one calling to put America before the pointless forever wars that some establishment figures are so keen on getting the country into. Not just that, it's truly something to be called that to your face by people that have never even seen the front lines of war, when Tulsi Gabbard volunteered to join the military and remain there for nearly 16 years.
Unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. It's why I ran for Congress.
We actually have the clip of Hillary Clinton, just to put this in context of what we're talking about. Let's take a look at that.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary. and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of, sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
So really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels.
Well, now in hindsight, the Russians were apparently doing a pretty terrible job at grooming her as the third-party candidate, huh? Tulsi Gabbard was polling around 1% when she dropped out, which hovers near the same number that people like Andrew Yang and Michael Bloomberg were polling, except maybe they had no problem towing the same establishment line on American foreign involvement in places like Crimea, Ukraine, and Syria. It's truly a window into how easy it is to be cast out and for people like Joy Behar to serve as the media arm of painting that picture for the public. Plus, it also reveals how both the interventionist left and the interventionist right mirror each other, while people on both political aisles with more isolationist foreign policy are cast out from their respective camps. In the end, they have more in common with themselves than perhaps even their own parties. For example, we saw something similar happen with Candace Owens earlier this year as her questions about American involvement in the current Middle Eastern conflict made her fall out of favor with a hardline right-wing camp calling for more aid and military equipment, even when it has cost America so much on the world stage. And what's sad is that despite there being a long and proven history of that, Joy Behar still asked Tulsi to prove if she wanted the facts to speak for themselves. Tulsi's reaction to that here was perhaps relatable to people on both sides of the political spectrum.
When people see bots and things and all the things that we've sort of been seeing heading your way, that people have these questions, because she's not the only one. Hillary, I don't think, is the only one. So no. What she's saying is she feels they are grooming you. You're saying nobody's grooming me. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm a soldier and a patriot.
It's offensive to me as a soldier, as an American, as a member of Congress, as a veteran, and frankly, as a woman, to be so demeaned in such a way.
But you called her the personification of rock.
So demeaned
She's a woman
in such
too.
a way. Well, I'm pointing to the fact that she has continued this legacy of being the world's police around the world, that has waged wars costing the lives of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I'm speaking out against that and
What's
to
your
change
evidence to that?
to change.
Well, can I?
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
I served in the war
Not
in
you,
Iraq.
her. You're saying that she's
exactly.
she's a
I served
warmonger. How do
in
you
the
come
war
up with
in
that?
Iraq
Yeah.
that she championed. She championed a regime change war
Did you not
in
believe
Libya.
in that war?
I believe the lies that were told to us.
Well, so did she.
Imagine saying that to someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who's gone through the entire process of believing the stories told to her by the political establishment, only to come out more disillusioned and jaded on the other end. And there's literally no other response when you hear someone like Joy Behar say that, seldom having left the comfort of that studio room. Let me know in the comments if you resonate with the frustration, because perhaps it's that disconnect that's resulting in much of the talking past each other that we see in modern political discourse.